Have you ever wondered how to start coding in React.js? Well, let's get that curiosity satisfied. React.js, or simply React, is a powerful JavaScript library that's widely used for building user interfaces, especially for single-page applications. It's the golden child of the coding world thanks to its flexibility, efficiency, and modularity. Imagine being able to create complex UIs from isolated pieces of code called components, each responsible for a single visual aspect of the application. Sounds efficient, right? That's exactly what React brings to the table. It's like building a Lego tower, piece by piece, but in the digital world. Learning React can open up a multitude of opportunities. Whether you're aiming to be a front-end developer or just looking to add another feather to your coding cap, mastering React is a great move. By the end of this video, you will understand the basics of React.js and be ready to start your coding journey. Before diving into coding, it's crucial to set up your coding environment correctly. Imagine trying to paint a masterpiece without having all your brushes, paints, or even a canvas ready. You'd be struggling, right? Well, the same applies to coding. Having a good setup is like having all your tools in place, and that's why we'll be focusing on setting up your coding environment. First, let's talk about Node.js. Now, you might be wondering, what's Node.js? Well, it's a JavaScript runtime built on Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. But to keep it simple, think of it as a tool that lets your computer understand and run JavaScript code. It's the foundation of our setup, and you'll need it to create and run your React.js applications. To install Node.js, head over to their official website, download the installer for your operating system, and follow the instructions. It's as easy as pie. Next up, we need a text editor to write our code. There are many out there, but Visual Studio Code, often shortened to VS Code, is a favorite among developers for many reasons. It's free, it's powerful, and it's highly customizable. You can also install extensions to enhance its functionality, and one of these is the React extension, which will be a great help when coding in React.js. To get VS Code, visit their website, download the installer, and follow the instructions. Once installed, you can customize it to your liking. Remember to install the React extension. So, why do we need these tools? Simply put, Node.js allows us to run our JavaScript code, and VS Code gives us a comfortable and efficient place to write that code. Without these, coding in React.js would be like trying to paint that masterpiece with a single worn-out brush. And there we have it. You've set up your coding environment, you've got Node.js to run your code, and VS Code to write it. That's all you need to start your journey into React.js. With your coding environment ready, you're set to start coding in React.js. Now that your coding environment is set, it's time to write your first React.js code. Let's get started by generating a new React application. To do this, we'll use a handy tool known as Create React App. This is a command line utility that sets up a new React application with a single command. It's like having a personal assistant who sets up everything for you. To create a new React app, simply open your terminal or command prompt, navigate to the directory where you want your project to be, and type npx create react app, followed by the name of your app. Press enter, and voila, your new React application is ready to go. Now, let's take a moment to understand the structure of our newly created React application. When you peek inside your project's directory, you'll notice a number of files and folders. Each of these plays a specific role in your application. At the heart of it all is a directory named src, short for source. This is where the magic happens. It's where you'll write your React code. Inside src, you'll find a file named app.js. This is the main component of your React application. Think of it as the mothership that carries and coordinates all the other components or parts of your application. So how do we write a simple React component? Well, let's dive into app.js. A React component is essentially a JavaScript function, but it's not just any function. It's a special function that returns what we call JSX, or JavaScript XML. This JSX looks a lot like HTML, and it defines what your component's UI should look like. Here's an example of a simple React component. In this example, welcome is our component. It's a function that returns a JSX element, an H1 tag with the text, "Hello world." Congratulations on writing your first React.js code, but what exactly does this code do? Let's find out in our next scene. Remember, practice makes perfect. So don't hesitate to experiment and play around with your code. Happy coding. React revolves around components. But what are they? Let's demystify this together. Imagine you're building a house. You don't start from scratch, right? You'd have blueprint plans for different parts like the living room, kitchen, bedrooms, each with their own unique characteristics, yet contributing to the overall structure. Similarly, in React, we have components. They are self-contained pieces of code that represent part of your user interface. Each component serves a specific purpose, and together they construct your entire application. Components are the heart of React's power and flexibility. They contribute to its modular nature. And by modular, I mean you can write a component once and use it in multiple places across your application. This not only saves time, but also ensures consistency across your application. Now, let's revisit the simple component we wrote in the previous scene. A typical React component is a JavaScript function or class that accepts input and returns a React element. The input is known as props, and the returned React element describes how a part of the user interface should appear. Let's break this down a bit further. You can think of props as the characteristics that define your component, just like the color of the walls or the number of windows would define a room in your house. And the React element your component returns is like the architectural blueprint for that room. Remember, each component in React has a life cycle. Just like a living organism, it gets created, it may grow and change, and eventually it gets removed from the screen. React provides hooks that allow you to tap into these moments in the component's life cycle and perform actions like fetching data, updating the UI, and cleaning up before the component is removed. Components are the building blocks of any React application. Now you know how to create one, but remember, it's not just about creating components. It's also about understanding how they interact with each other and with the user. That's where the real magic happens. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the world of React. Reusability and state management are two of React's most powerful features. Let's delve into these concepts and see how they contribute to efficient coding. Reusability, as the name suggests, allows you to reuse code snippets across different parts of your application. It's like having a toolbox filled with the same type of tool, each customized for specific tasks. This is where React shines. Its component-based architecture allows you to build small reusable pieces of code or components, each responsible for a specific output. Imagine you're building a website with multiple pages. Instead of writing code for the header and footer on each page, you can create reusable header and footer components. This not only reduces the amount of code you have to write, but it also makes your code base cleaner and easier to maintain. Now let's talk about state. In the world of React, state refers to a built-in object that stores property values belonging to a component. It's like a personal storage box for each component. The state of a component can change over time, usually in response to user actions or system events. This is what makes React components dynamic. Creating a stateful component in React is straightforward. You start by declaring a state object in the constructor of your component, then use the setState method to update the state. Remember, you should never modify the state directly. Always use the setState method. It tells React that the state has changed and it needs to re-render the component. Why is this important? Well, managing the state properly helps you create interactive user interfaces. For instance, you can store the user's input in a form in the state and then update that state as the user types. You can then use this state to display the input back to the user, creating a seamless user experience. With the knowledge of state and reusability, you can now create dynamic and efficient React components. It's like having superpowers in the coding world. So go on, start building and see the magic unfold. You've made it this far, and you're now familiar with the basics of React.js. In this journey, we've taken an overview of React.js, a powerful JavaScript library that has revolutionized the way we build user interfaces. We've also tackled the process of setting up your coding environment, ensuring that you have the necessary tools to start crafting your React app. We've then dove into creating your first React app, a thrilling milestone that marks the beginning of your coding journey. You've seen firsthand how React's components work together to create dynamic and interactive user interfaces. We've also dissected the concept of reusability and state, two key aspects that make React a game changer in the world of web development. The power of reusing components and managing state efficiently gives you the ability to create complex applications with ease. You're now equipped with the basic knowledge to start your React.js journey. Happy coding!